Our 2025 vacation started with a drive up to Brookline, Massachusetts, where we checked into the Longwood Inn. A converted Victorian mansion, the Longwood is over 100 years old. It's only 20 minutes from the center of Boston, and the prices are fair. Once settled in, we took a ride share to Quincy Market for lunch. We headed straight to historic Faneuil Hall. This building, nicknamed the Cradle of Liberty, is older than America. The second floor is the meeting hall, and the ground floor is a marketplace, with signs from historic vendors on the wall. Upstairs is where the Sons of Liberty protested royal taxation. The two main hallways from the center are now a food court. We went to Pizzeria Regina for lunch. From Boston's Italian North End, Regina's is famous for its big, classic flavor. We walked to King's Chapel Burial Ground, Boston proper's first burial place. Some of the oldest headstones in the country, many with the classic death's head winged skull, as well as famous stone depicting the skeleton fighting Father Time. There was a subway vent that looked like a steampunk cage. Next, we visited the Boston Athenaeum, a unique combination of library, museum, and cultural center. It was founded in 1807. One of America's oldest private libraries, the Athenaeum has over 500,000 books in addition to its paintings, statuary, and other assorted pieces. Notably, the Athenaeum holds the Skin Book, the narrative of the life of James Allen, bound in his own skin, as per his last request. The Skin Book is no longer on permanent display, so we didn't get to see it in person. Over the last 2 centuries, the Athenaeum's members have included John Adams, Louisa May Alcott, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and JFK. Just next door is the Granary Burial Ground, founded in 1660. This small plot is home to the graves of notable American patriots like Benjamin Franklin's parents, Ben himself being buried in Philly, Declaration signer John Hancock, and Paul Revere. I learned the Latin phrase tempus edax rerum, time devours all things, and we saw an old headstone trend of cartoon faces. And this one is really creepy. Then we walked through Boston Common. This land was originally used as cow pasture, burial place, and execution ground until the early 1800s, when it became the beautiful park we know today. The Common features several monuments and is used for sports and public events. Just across Charles Street is the Boston Public Garden. Designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, this is America's first botanical garden. It's designed in the style of an English landscape garden, featuring many flowers during the spring and summer. It's much more level and manicured than the Common. You can almost picture Victorian Americans promenading through the garden's paths. Completed in 1877, Trinity Church was named one of the 10 most significant buildings in the United States by the American Institute of Architects. Now in the shadow of the John Hancock Building, this Romanesque masterpiece features a clay roof, polychrome stone, and hundreds of intricate carvings along its towers and arches. Just across the street is Boston's Central Public Library. This entrance is in the Italian Renaissance style. Pink Knoxville marble walls and vaults adorn the vestibule, while the grand staircase is yellow and ivory marble. Visitors could read in the central courtyard, while inside the library holds much more than books, like the Abbey Room with its striking mural depicting the quest for the Holy Grail. Bates Hall is the 50-foot-high reading room, and John Singer Sargent painted the Triumph of Religion on the 3rd floor. Back on the 1st floor of the library, we had drinks in the Map Room, a stylish restaurant and bar. As a fan, I had to see the statue Poe returning to Boston. Just across the park, we visited the original Cheers, the bar the show was based upon. Next, we walked to Brattle Bookshop, established in 1825. Brattle is one of America's largest antiquarian bookstores. Browsing the third floor, I saw first printings of Raymond Chandler and Sylvia Plath, as well as an inscribed Robert Benchley. For dinner, we walked out to the edge of the waterfront to Yankee Lobster. Their legendary lobster rolls were piled high with fresh, delicious lobster. It was pricey, but we're glad we did it. To end our first day, we took the Ghosts and Gravestones trolley tour. We visited several locations around the city with dark pasts, including Copp's Hill Burial Ground. After the tour, we ride-shared back to the inn and slept well. Our second day began with breakfast at Martin's Coffee Shop in Brookline. Incredible short-order food served by the Albanian family who owns the restaurant. After eating, we drove out to Mount Auburn Cemetery. Before Mount Auburn was created in 1831, graveyards were often church-controlled, crowded, smelly, difficult to maintain, and generally unfun to visit. This is America's first rural park-style cemetery. Over 2 centuries, an impressive collection of interesting gravestones have accumulated. Like this grave, where visitors leave sticks for the English Mastiff statue. Creepiest grave award goes to these poor kids. Next, we drove for a quick beverage at Cambridge student favorite Broadsheet Coffee Roasters. In Somerville, we checked out some of the local shops, including the remarkable Hub Comics. For lunch, we drove to Roxy's Grilled Cheese in Cambridge. We expected a gourmet take on the classic, but it was just the classic. We then ride-shared back downtown to the New England Aquarium. Open since 1969, the aquarium has been active in marine mammal rescue since its inception. A unique cylindrical tank running up the center of the building, which holds 200,000 gallons of water, is home to over 100 species living together. We loved the octopi, the sea turtles, and most of all the penguins. Next, we went up to Boston's Italian North End for the 106th annual St. Anthony's Feast. Brought to America from Avellino, the feast takes place every Labor Day weekend. St. Anthony's statue is carried through the streets in a procession, with people draping money on him as a donation to the local church. The feast also features tons of food, music, games, and a big final parade. Surrounded by Italian food, we decided to eat dinner right there in the North End at Filippo Restaurant. It was our favorite meal of the entire trip. Plus, St. Anthony's statue went right by us again. After dinner, we walked along the water down to Christopher Columbus Park to watch illuminate the harbor. Above the water and the beautiful lights of the city, fireworks were displayed to celebrate the end of a great summer. People from all over the city gathered to eat, drink, dance, and watch the show. The finale was unbelievable. To end the evening, we went to Bova's Bakery for a little dessert. The place was packed, but the pastries were worth it. On Friday morning, while checking out of our room, we found a creepy furnace door in our closet. Then we drove up to Manchester by the Sea for breakfast at the Laughing Gull Cafe. The sandwiches were pretty good, but the atmosphere was great. Our first real stop of the day was Hammond Castle Museum on Gloucester Harbour. Completed in 1929, this castle, built by the inventor John Hammond Jr., is a mix of historic European styles, like this great hall inspired by mid-2nd millennium Gothic cathedral with a massive pipe organ, or this courtyard and pool with elements of medieval villages mixed with some Roman artifacts, a Spanish-influenced dining room, a classic Victorian library, and this 18th century French bedroom. We then drove down to Old Burial Hill in Marblehead. 1,000 graves on 4.5 acres, this small burial site is one of the oldest in America, with stones going back to the 1630s. Deposited beneath this stone the mortal part of Miss Susanna Jane. They had style. It's a beautiful spot. Next up, Salem. Starting with lunch at the Gulu Gulu Cafe. A wide selection of drinks and hot comfort food was exactly what we needed on a chilly day. The staff were fun and attentive, we had a great time, and we left full. After lunch, we went shopping on Essex Street, souvenir shops full of clever shirts and mugs, magic shops offering tarot, books, and spell kits, and costume shops. We decided to check into our new accommodation, the Cabot Lodge, located in a very cool block of hipster shops in Beverly. Once back at Salem, we walked along Derby Street and had dinner at Mercy Tavern. Cocktails and savory pub food hit the spot. After dinner, we closed out the day with the Spirits, Sinners, and Scandals tour, starting with the Charter Street Cemetery and the creepy houses around it, like the Pickman House, where a girl starved to death waiting for her family to fetch medicine. This witch shop once sold real human body parts. The Hawthorne is one of the most haunted hotels in America. And finally, the old Salem jail, where people were tortured and killed. We kicked off Saturday with unbelievably good breakfast sandwiches at Crave in Beverly. After a little more shopping in Salem, we drove down to Sleepy Hollow, New York. We ate dinner at the Bridgeview Tavern on the edge of the Hudson River. More comforting pub fare was exactly what we needed. To end our vacation, we took a lantern tour through Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. We saw the mausoleum of William Rockefeller and one of his employees who insisted on being buried at a higher elevation. The simple Celtic cross of Andrew Carnegie belies his vast fortune. This Gothic tower gravestone was remarkable. This guy had a generic beautiful woman carved to mourn him forever. Inside this crypt, a woman rests with her wedding dress sealed airtight. And here lies Washington Irving, author of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. We even got to see the inside of a mausoleum for ourselves. And then we drove home to get some rest.